Good morning. I'm Chancellor Dennis J. Shields, and on behalf of the entire University of Wisconsin-Platteville community, I am delighted to welcome you to our 185th commencement. We begin our ceremony today with the singing of the national anthem. Please stand and remove your hats. Rachel Day will lead us in the singing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran low, the bombs bursting in air, gave forth through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Faculty, students, distinguished guests, and friends of the university, and most importantly, parents and relatives. This year is the 145th anniversary of the founding of the first normal school in the state of Wisconsin. That was the birth of what has become today's University of Wisconsin-Platteville. During these 145 years, over 50,000 students have earned their degrees from this outstanding institution. At this ceremony, we will confer 75 master's degrees and just over 220 bachelor's degrees. At this afternoon ceremony, bachelor's degrees will be conferred to 231 students. Today, in total, we will award 526 degrees. The University of Wisconsin-Platteville has a strong commitment to preparing students of and for the world. Advances in technology and telecommunications and the remaking of the global economy are bringing great change to the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, our nation, and our world. Our graduates must be prepared to live, work, and contribute into an interconnected world. As part of today's ceremony, UW-Platteville is displaying the flags of the countries represented by international students currently studying at UW-Platteville. There are flags of 27 countries, in addition to the United States flag, on display. As the graduates entered the gymnasium, you may have noticed that some are wearing special international stoles. Our international students who are graduating wear white flag stoles featuring the United States flag and the flag of their home country. UW students who have studied abroad wear stoles featuring the flag of the country where they studied. Commencement is a celebration of accomplishments of these graduates. It is time for students, faculty, and family and friends to recognize the graduates' hard work over the years, as well as to look to the future as these graduates accept their degrees and their new roles as alumni of this institution. A UW-Platteville degree is definitely earned and is something that no one can ever take away from you. It is a lifelong accomplishment. We offer our sincere congratulations to all our graduating seniors today. The graduating senior chosen to deliver the valedictory address today is Mr. Todd Tubergen. Todd has earned his degree in animal science with an emphasis in dairy and a minor in Spanish. A Michigan native, Todd was a member of the Pioneer football team for 4 years. He is also a member of the Pi Kappa Pi Honor Society. Todd has worked on his 700-cow family farm as a seasonal assistant herdsman since 2004. He has also cared for as many as 250 cows while a student at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. He is graduating with a 4.0 and in only 3.5 years. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Todd Tubergen.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
On behalf of all the UW-Platteville students graduating this December, I'd like to begin by saying thank you to the audience for coming out to support us on this memorable day. I'd also like to quickly give thanks to my family and friends, and specifically my parents, who have guided me and supported me throughout my life. And on that note, I would also like to thank them for making the 7-hour trip from Michigan yesterday, especially considering half of them left at midnight last night and drove through the night to get here. Thank you as well to my football teammates and coaches for putting up with me and helping make so many unforgettable memories. And finally, to UW-Platteville as a whole for helping to make the last 3.5 years so memorable and rich. I encourage every graduate to take time today to thank those individuals who have helped guide you and support you to where you are today. I know this day has been only a figment of my imagination for a while, as I imagine it has also been for most of you, especially the graduates receiving graduate degrees today. But I'd like to begin my message by sharing a figure with everybody: 1.6 million. According to the U.S. government, that's the number of students who graduated with a bachelor's degree in 2008. And this number has been projected to increase in 2010. This should lead us to question if simply having a degree is enough to succeed. Is it enough to be able to compete in an economy that has posted record unemployment rates the past few years? Well, solely having a degree may be that stepping stone for many of us into our careers, but the experiences, knowledge, and confidence that we've gained from UW-Platteville will contribute as much, if not more, to our success in those careers. I want to encourage all you graduates today. I want to encourage you to stand out of that crowd of 1.6 million graduates, because it's all right to go against the crowd. It's all right to stand out and challenge the statistics, and it's all right to choose that path less traveled. The past 4 years have provided me with many opportunities, and I've had to work to stand out in many of those situations in order to take advantage of those opportunities. During my college search, I had a difficult decision to make. I had to choose between attending Michigan State University or UW-Platteville. And being from Ionia, Michigan, which is situated only 40 minutes away from Michigan State, the decision to attend here has been questioned by many. My decision to attend here was fueled by my love of the game of football and my desire to play at the collegiate level. It wasn't the 9 hours of driving with my parents in the dark that I remember most about my first trip to Platteville, nor the few wrong turns we took on the way either. And nor was it the drive back to Michigan when we were actually able to see the distinct location of UW-Platteville in the hills of southwest Wisconsin. It was the day that my parents and I spent on campus. That truly persuaded me to make my decision to become a pioneer. Not only was it the welcoming nature of the many diverse students from several different states that I met, but it was also the sit-down meetings and the recruitment lunch with the football coaches and players, the individual meeting with Dr. Price from the Animal Science Department that detailed the program here, as well as the student-led tour of campus that introduced the many facilities and resources that this campus has to contribute to a great college experience. Throughout my experience here at UW-Platteville, I've learned to push myself through the adversity that comes with being a student athlete. The experiences that I've had here with the football team, both on and off the field, have truly complemented my academic career here. I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to interact so closely with so many diverse individuals within the program with both different backgrounds and personalities. The act of playing college football is difficult in itself, as only 6% of high school football players end up playing at the collegiate level, and even fewer end up completing all 4 years. After completing 4 seasons, I've come to understand why many players do not finish. Competing daily in the challenging academic environment of UW-Platteville was challenging enough, but trying to maintain the balance between academic demands and football responsibilities made it even more challenging. And I'm sure that everyone graduating today has shared those same overwhelming moments where the end just seems so bleak. That feeling I had become quite accustomed with each other throughout my journey here, but has also taught me to keep fighting, especially when the road looks rough, because I think failing to take action only creates a larger hill to climb in the end. This mindset has allowed me to fully appreciate the successes that I have encountered, and I encourage everybody to use the same mindset in the future to keep moving forward, especially when challenges and obstacles may be presented. Standing up here in front of everybody today, delivering this commencement speech was definitely not on my mind during that first visit to campus. But having this opportunity to address you here today, I think is a perfect ending to my journey at UW-Platteville. Once we graduate and begin our careers and our future lives, I think it's important to use the skills and knowledge that we have acquired from UW-Platteville to work not only to overcome the adversity that will inevitably present itself, but also to stand out of that crowd and seize the opportunities that will allow us to succeed. Our modern economy may not be as welcoming as everybody hopes, but I like to think that it provides us with an opportunity to set ourselves apart from the rest of the crowd. I feel that's important for us to be excited about our future careers and lives. As a person who truly appreciates competition, I'm excited to enter the dairy industry with the opportunity to compete with many other graduates. I'm excited that I'll be able to take action to solve a problem instead of sitting down and filling out an endless bubble sheet. We as students have spent more than 2,000 hours in the classroom preparing ourselves for the future. But now the future is here. I encourage all of us to leave here today with not only the great memories that we have created throughout our collegiate journeys at UW-Platteville, with our friends, our teammates, and our fellow students, but also with an excitement to use the confidence that we've gained here to stand out and succeed. So to the December 2010 BILSA graduates and the graduates receiving master's degrees this morning, I want to end by encouraging you to live life. Live it with an appreciation for every day that we are given and be willing to stand out and make a difference in this great and crazy world we live in. Thank you.
Good morning. As the provost, it is my pleasure to introduce our principal speaker for this morning's ceremony. John Bussell is the Vice President of the John Deere Foundation and Manager of Corporate Citizenship. He joined Deere and Company in 1976 following his graduation from UW-Platteville. During his career, John has held professional and leadership positions in accounting, diversity, human resources, communications, and corporate citizenship. During his tenure with the John Deere Foundation, John has provided leadership to adopt and implement a new area of strategic philanthropy, referred to as Solutions for World Hunger. This work focuses on helping subsistence-level farmers in underdeveloped and developing nations improve their farm productivity and incomes. Working with only manually operated tools, these farmers are becoming food secure for the first time in their lives. John and Marilyn Bussell are lifetime members of the UW-Platteville Alumni Association, and John has volunteered as an associate board member and treasurer. For 9 years, John served on the UW-Platteville Foundation Board of Directors. In 2007, John was honored as an outstanding alumnus for the College of Business, Industry, Life Science, and Agriculture. So please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker, Mr. John Bussell.
Thank you, Provost Nimericks. It is an honor and a distinct pleasure to be here, and I have to tell you, it's also very emotional. I didn't expect this, wow. So we're gonna try a different tack. Is anybody in-house a Packers fan? Please? Okay. My wife and I grew up in Monroe and Darlington, respectively. Never expected to leave the state when we graduated. But the reality is that we have never lived in Wisconsin since we've started our careers, and mostly have lived in Illinois. And as you may know, that means we're around Illinois fans or Bears fans a lot. And sometimes it's a little hard to get that sense of loyalty to our heritage. So I'm really glad to be among the pure, among the whole, among people who are proud to proclaim their Packer loyalties. And go Packers, okay? Thank you for laughing. At least one of you did generously. I appreciate that. So, really, first and foremost, graduates, sincere and genuine congratulations to you for making and accomplishing a major life event. I hope you take great satisfaction, great pride in what you've worked to do. At the same time, I encourage you to think of your family, your friends, the other people that have supported you along the way, people who have given you moral support, friendship, guidance, perhaps resources. This is their celebration too, so please remember to tell them thank you. At the same time, I encourage you to also realize that you are the envy of billions of people around this world who have never had a chance to go to school of any type, let alone graduate from a major university. It is important for all of us to remember that regardless of our unique circumstances, we are among humanity's most privileged. So what's next in your life? Likely many of you are looking for employment, maybe already have some secured in your field of study or your interest. Today the job market is different than when you started, and it's a little harder than it was, but take comfort in the fact that our world is cyclical. This has happened before. Change will occur. Opportunities will present themselves again. Some of you may decide to pursue the next level of education, return to school, and that's great, and some of you may not know yet what you want to do, and that's okay too. There's a lot of options out there. Your future is long, goes in well into many decades. So as you look ahead and think about your future, it might be helpful to think about these questions. 1, what future do you want to create for yourselves? 2, what future do you want to create for your loved ones, including children, should you decide to marry and have children? And 3, very importantly, what future do you want to create for humanity? Because it is within all of humanity that your future rests. And humanity is growing. 3 billion more people will be on this planet within the next 40 years, typical working career for a lot of you. And I don't think this is news to you because the media talks about this quite often in terms of doom and perhaps despair and questions about what that will bring and what will happen. How will we prepare? How will we provide? How will we preserve ourselves going forward? And it would be easy to get caught up in that sense of doom and uncertainty. And for somebody like me, who's lived most of his life looking at the glass as half empty, I would typically react with anxiety. But in recent years, my eyes have been opened to something different, and that's to the potential opportunity that challenges like this offer to all of us, but especially to those of you in your youth who have a real opportunity to transform humanity for the positive. That's right, those of you who are graduating today can and will transform humanity for the positive. This is a challenge we face, it's one I offer to you, and it's one that will be incredibly enriching to you throughout your lifetime. The next question is, what changed my perspective from glass half empty to glass half full? And the answer may surprise you because the biggest source of my hope and newfound confidence has been what I've witnessed among people who are among the world's most poor, some of the world's poorest countries, among the world's most underserved populations. I've seen it in their faces, in their work, their determination to create their future and their success in creating their future. In the introduction, it was mentioned that I work with the John Deere Foundation, and I engage in corporate philanthropy. And I work with this platform we call Solutions for World Hunger, and that's all true. We work with organizations like Kickstart International, Foods Resource Bank, Opportunity International, organizations that are out to help create the future by working with people who need an opportunity to work themselves into their own security, into their own opportunity, into their own prosperity. Many work with small agriculturalists, people considered smallholder farmers or subsistence level farmers, people who today maybe are only growing 1/8 of an acre to 2 or 3 acres of vegetables just to feed themselves and their family. Organizations like the ones I work with are helping enable people to improve their lives. They're helping them grow to a point where they're able to secure the food supplies for their families, but also to start to create economy because they're able to start growing enough food to sell in the marketplaces, to help feed other people, to help employ other people, to raise the level of their nations, their communities, and of humanity. They're stimulating economy. It's been a humbling privilege to meet these people with the organizations I work with in travels to Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, South Africa, India, Haiti, and some other places. I have met these people who are creating the future through agriculture. These are people whose primary tools, their only tools, might be a hoe, a machete, or a knife, and maybe some very primitive irrigation tool, something as basic as a can, maybe a water pitcher of some variety. Their primary assets are their time, their labor, and an entrepreneurial spirit that they have developed simply to survive, because where they are, only they can control their survival. There are no government programs. There are no social intervention programs, so their survival is on their own, and that's made people very inventive. They're very intelligent, creative people, and working to create their future. I'm going to talk about a couple of these for a few minutes, so please bear with me. Kickstart International is located in Nairobi, Kenya, and was founded about 25 years ago by a couple guys that went to the African continent after getting out of grad school. They wanted to apply technology solutions to human development. One guy has a PhD in mechanical engineering from Stanford. Another individual is an MBA out of a school in London, and they came together. They met in these organizations, decided that what they really needed to do was to create this opportunity for people to create their own future. They looked and realized that among the world's poorest people are people engaged in subsistence farming. How do you help raise that? How do you start raising the economy? They developed a series of tools, the most significant of which is a manually operated irrigation pump that works like a Stairmaster. This pump is very basic. It's sophisticated engineering for this population, but by our standards, it's not. But what it replaces is people watering their crops plant by plant. 1 can of water, 1 bucket of water, usually water they have to carry several miles. They work in areas where water tables are high, and this pump can pull water from underground up to 25 feet. So what people are doing today is they're using garden hoses. They're spraying their farms, and that's tremendous improvement. Kickstart does impact monitoring to ensure that they're effective at what they're doing. And as a result of that, to the international development and ag communities, they've been able to prove that 85% of the people who use those products have improved their farm income by a factor of 10 within 18 months. That only might be from $200 to $2,000 a year. That's the first level of middle class in many, many areas of the world where people live. It permits them to start to create some prosperity, a little bit of security. And the first thing people typically do wherever I've been when they have the opportunity is they put their children in schools, because people everywhere realize creating the future relies on education, continued learning, continued development of human capacity. And Kickstart is very successful. They just sold their 150,000th product this year. They've helped take over 500,000 people out of poverty permanently. And the farmers that use these products, their irrigation pumps in Kenya, they generate about $85 million of revenue each year, which is the equivalent of about 0.5% of Kenya's total GDP. Another group is called Opportunity International. It's based out of Chicago, but works all over the world. One of the limiting factors for people in these environments is the lack of any access to credit, to banking services, to finance services, and it's very limiting. Groups like Opportunity International have come together and developed approaches to make small loans, microloans, to farmers, to other business people, maybe as small as $50. On average, they're about $300 with the organization we work with. These are loans to people who have no assets, no collateral, no security, and importantly, they also have no ID. They don't have passports. They don't have any other documentation that shows who they are. So these organizations like Opportunity have come in, and they've helped people with credit start their own businesses, start to employ people, start to generate agriculture, new food production, other businesses in their areas as a way to create and stimulate human development and help people create their own future. As an example, about 2 years ago, our foundation made a donation of a little over $1 million to this group to work in Malawi and Mozambique. That loan of $1 million, or donation, will turn into about $10.5 million of economic value created in the regions in those countries that we work in. Both of those are small organizations, and they're simple by our standards, but these approaches have been revolutionary in the outcomes they're achieving and the futures they're helping to create. I could go on with a lot more stories, but the overall theme for me is this: by watching people who have nothing, literally nothing, overcome significant barriers to create successful futures, I'm confident that we and that you will create a great future for yourselves, for your families, and for humanity. My wife, Marilyn, joined me this last summer on a trip to several countries in Africa, and when we were returning, we were talking with some of our friends one evening and had photos and everything, and one of the people said, "Boy, this is great, but what you're really doing, it's not about charity, it's about creating commerce, it's about creating capitalism." And the answer is yes, it is. The very best parts of those, that's what this is about, enabling people to create their future, to create their security. We have come to recognize that creating that future relies on creating sustainable economic development. Aid programs are critical in many situations, but on an interim basis, they don't really create the future. Recently, I read a book titled Unpoverty by an author named Mark Lutz. In it, he was referring to a situation in the country of Honduras in South America that he had become familiar with. A friend of his had been traveling and came to a mission operated by a Catholic priest. In conversations with that priest, the priest said, "You know, sometimes I wish Americans weren't quite so generous." And the other guy said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, here's an example. Last year, he said, an organization in the US did a huge clothing drive and collected huge amounts of clothing that's sent down to people living in our areas. In one regard, that's wonderful, but you know what the outcome was? Our economy spiraled down because we had people who were making clothes, tailors and seamstresses, shoemakers, stores that sold these products, and they all went out of business. People's businesses closed. People lost jobs. As a result, they had no income to support the other businesses in the area, and this spiral down effect is just not something we've been able to recover. So there is another determination and another factor in figuring out how we work together in the future. I would never recommend that people not be charitable. We in the US especially we are the charitable leaders in the world. We have the most sense of supporting people all over. But it's also important to remember what we need to do needs to help create the future. What are some messages so far in what I've observed? One, humanity is expanding. It will create all kinds of opportunities. Two, people the world over need to be productively employed and engaged in meeting their needs and the needs of their fellow humanity in order to create the future. Three, new knowledge, new technologies, processes, and businesses will be required to meet those demands. We don't know what they are yet, but your generation can and will define them for us, and that's tremendous. I'd ask you to think of it like this. This might be familiar to you as well. Think of a pie or a pie chart cut into eighths. One of those pieces, 1/8, could be defined as what we know. The second piece could be defined as what we know that we don't know. 3/4 of that pie can then be defined as what we don't know that we don't know. And that's where innovation comes in. That's where the future lies, and that's where your future lies. Point 4 is flexibility is key, and I mentioned learning earlier. Constant learning is required. And point 5, helping create and secure the future for people is, in my opinion, the highest form of human service. Because I have discussed this in terms of global, you may be thinking my message is that you need to relocate, that you need to live internationally, and that there's no future here, and that's not true at all. I do encourage people to live internationally. I do encourage people to go overseas. I'm grateful my kids have done so. But the USA is recognized as the global leader in innovation, in imagination, and ingenuity. And I firmly believe all of those will come together and will help the United States lead the world to that improved humanity. The degree to the US success, however, will be achieved in large part by how the peoples and the nations across the globe succeed at the same time. It's not about creating a future for people, it's creating a future with them. I was really excited to see the flags behind me when I came in and was brought up to the podium initially, because when I look at that and I look out and I see the message of what is here already is incredible. We have a wonderful foundation here. You have a wonderful opportunity to learn, to grow, and to respect the diversity that exists within our nation and across nations. So I'm really excited to see what is here today. This isn't going to be easy. I'm not naive. But I want to go back to the observations I made about these smallholder farmers and small business people we've met. They're succeeding against major odds. Their tools and resources are primitive, their security barely registers, but their attitudes are inspirational. Why do they succeed? It's because of their values. They're people of faith, dignity, integrity, honor, honesty, optimism, determination. There are people willing to work together across, in many cases, tribal barriers that exist in some worlds. They're willing to work together to create that future for themselves, for their loved ones, and for humanity, and they're succeeding. We will succeed by a strong value system that transcends cultures, that transcends countries, that transcends faiths. I've talked a lot about the future, but I also want to leave a message to make sure you stay in touch with your past. Remember your UW-Platteville experience. Continue to develop the friendships you have made here, and very importantly, continue to support the UW-Platteville intellectually and, yes, financially. Now, I'm not a paid or volunteer fundraiser for the school here, but I do understand the significant role higher education will play in creating your future, our future, and that requires resources, financial, intellectual, and relational. But to that point, Chancellor Shields and faculty members here today, I also respectfully challenge you to ensure that the University of Wisconsin-Platteville continues to educate students to the highest levels of knowledge existing today, and also, and very critically, your charge is to enhance the critical thinking skills of your students so they're prepared to create the future through imagination, innovation, and ingenuity. My wife Marilyn is here with me, and we are joined by many friends. We started school here in the last century. We finished in the last century too, I guess. And there are a few people it is important for me to recognize. Bill and Diane Van Diest are here. I had Bill for 3 classes when I was a student, and he was one of the people that encouraged me to think about beyond my very narrow scope, to challenge myself to think differently, to look at things differently. And Bill, it took over 30 years, but I finally got there. Mary Jo Hennessy is a lifelong friend from Platteville. Her ethics, her optimism, and her confidence are truly admirable. Gary Feiereisen, with the full support of his wife Rondi, made a major life shift after 20 years in industry to return to the University of Minnesota to earn his PhD in agricultural engineering. He's now a research scientist working to create the future through enhanced agricultural practices, and this is part of his Christian mission. And Professor Donna Perkins, who I met here on Tuesday, August 29th, 1972, in a Fundamentals of Business class. We tracked through Platteville the whole time, She saved me many times. She was a smart one, I wasn't. And she had a major influence on my life because she encouraged me to work for John Deere when I didn't want to. She introduced me to my wife. So she's had a big influence on my life. And that, of course, leads me to the most important person in my life. My wonderful wife, Marilyn, the pretty co-ed I met here, first dated on May 2nd, 1974. We came here and sat in this very Fieldhouse for an Olivia Newton-John concert. Why is that funny? Marilyn is a gift from heaven, the earthly source of my faith, my love, my joy, my happiness, and the reasons for any small accomplishments I've ever had. Okay, graduates, back to you. What can you do tomorrow to create the future? Celebrate today. Enjoy this experience. Tomorrow, cheer on the Packers as they womp up on Detroit. But regardless of your situation, I encourage you to think of and do three things. One, do your uncompromised best at whatever you are doing, wherever you're at. Constantly focus on giving your very best effort and learn from that. The second thing is to constantly learn about the world you live in. Challenge yourselves to look at different media sources, meet different people, go outside your scope, the narrow one about myself that I talked about, to expand who you are and expand who you know. And third, then, put together what you're learning and you're working. Put together what you're learning and what you're reading and doing. Put your mind at work and your imagination at work and figure out how you can create the future day after day after day. Think big. In closing, thank you for listening to me and for accepting my challenge to you to create the future for humanity. May God bless you always.
Thank you, John. Good morning. I'm Daniel Paulson, president of the UW-Platteville Alumni Association. Each year, our faculty in the Alumni Association recognize alumni who have brought honor to this university. Since our alumni includes winners of Nobel and Pulitzer Prizes, members of U.S. Congress and Wisconsin legislature, and presidents of major corporations, the choices are never easy. Today, we honor two outstanding alumni as models for this graduating class and in recognition of their achievements and contributions. I will introduce the honorees. Each will come forward to the front of the stage and remain standing. Audience, I ask that you please hold your applause until both are introduced. Complete biographies of the honorees are in your commencement programs. Mr. Dennis Anthony, class of 1995, please step forward to the front of the stage. Dennis J. Anthony, a 1995 Soil and Crop Science alumnus and certified professional soil classifier through the American Registry of Certified Professionals in Agronomy and Crop and Soils, has been a longtime financial supporter of the UW-Platteville Collegiate Soils team and UW-Platteville scholarships. As a student on campus, Anthony was a member of 2 national championship soils teams, earning overall championship honors in Maryland in 1994. Dennis is joined by Winnebago County Soil and Water Conservation District in Rockford, Illinois in 1995, and currently serves as the Executive Director and Soil Scientist. In this position, Dennis administers and manages all aspects of soil and water conservation in all aspects of the Soil and Water Conservation District, providing professional services such as soil evaluations to determine the suitability for septic systems and inspection of construction sites, to monitor compliance and Environmental Protection Agency regulations involving soil erosion and sediment control. He also provides a valuable assistance for many other district programs, activities, and projects. Mr. Ryan Weigel, class of 1996. Please stand and remain standing. Ryan Weigel, a 1996 Animal Science alumnus, serves on the UW-Platteville School of Agriculture Advisory Board, is a College of Business, Industry, Life Science, and Agriculture Alumni Chapter Board Chair and 2010 BILSA Golf Outing Co-Chair. Ryan was also recently invited to be a guest speaker at UW-Platteville for the Pioneer Dairy Club and to serve as a ring assistant for the Dairy Club sale. Currently employed as a regional service specialist for Accelerated Genetics in Baraboo, Ryan works with the Genetic Evaluation and Mating Program. As part of his position, Ryan evaluates each animal and uses the company's database and computer program to give each herd the best possible mating match, ensuring genetic progress while meeting each individual herd's goals. Previous to his position in Baraboo, Ryan served as the Dairy Cattle Show Manager at the World Dairy Expo for 6 years and also worked at Bomatic for 5 years as a district sales manager. Dennis and Ryan, our congratulations and appreciation to each of you. Your accomplishments have brought honors to you and to your alma mater. At this time, I would like to recognize the graduates that have been selected to receive our honorary lifetime membership into the Alumni Association. The UW-Platteville Alumni Association annually recognizes outstanding graduates in the Lifetime Pioneer Award by awarding them a life membership in the Alumni Association, a $400 value, which, by the way, is very reasonable, graduates. The award is based on a variety of criteria, including campus activities, leadership, community involvement, professional development, and employment, academic excellence, and probability of future involvement in the Alumni Association. For this semester, we have selected 4 individuals as recipients. Those graduating this morning include Megan Kadelka, a business administration major from Nevada, Iowa. Carrie Weddige, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your names, a master's student in project management from Cuba City, Wisconsin. Congratulations, Megan and Carrie, and congratulations to all the graduates this morning. It is our hope and desire that all of you will support UW-Platteville as you graduate and stay involved. Join Alum Nation, our online community, and seek out opportunities to stay connected. Volunteer and serve on your college alumni chapter. Plan and attend alumni event in your area. Come back to BILSA for the golf outing in June, or homecoming next fall to reconnect with friends. There are many ways to stay connected and be an active alum. As part of your next chapter in life, take pride in the degree you received today. We are all proud of you, we are all proud and call you alumni of the UW-Platteville. Thank you.
Of course, we're extremely proud of all of our graduates and will shortly recognize each one of them. However, at this time, I would like to give special recognition to the groups who have distinguished themselves throughout their academic careers. The undergraduate students graduating with academic honors are designated with asterisks in the commencement program and are wearing gold cords. Will those individuals who have achieved highest honors and are graduating summa cum laude please rise and remain standing? These students have earned cumulative grade point averages between 3.75 and a perfect 4.0. Now will those students who have achieved honors and are graduating magna cum laude please rise and remain standing? These students have earned cumulative grade point averages between a 3.5 and a 3.74. Please join me in acknowledging the accomplishments of this very special group of graduates. Now, will all of the individuals who are about to receive bachelor's or master's degrees please stand? Chancellor, as provost, I certify that the candidates standing before you have completed the curricula prescribed by the university faculty for the degrees of Master of Science in Education, Bachelor of Arts, or Bachelor of Science, and are entitled to receive their degrees from the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. I therefore recommend that these candidates be granted the appropriate diplomas for the curricula completed.
Upon this certification by the Provost and Vice Chancellor that you have completed the requirements established by the university faculty for the various degrees, and with the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents of the University of Wisconsin System, I am pleased to confer upon you the degree which you have earned, together with all the rights and privileges attending thereto. Congratulations, and be seated. As we begin awarding the degrees, I ask that everyone show respect for the graduates and for those seated near you. We know that this is an exciting time, and we expect some celebration. However, we ask that the celebration be respectful. All here are anxious to hear the name of their special graduate. Please refrain from excessive celebration or using artificial noisemakers. Will the deans now present the degree recipients?
Will the recipients of the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science from the College of Business, Industry, Life Science, and Agriculture please stand? Chancellor Shields, as Dean of the College of Business, Industry, Life Science, and Agriculture, and representing the college faculty, I present to you the recipients of the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science from the College of Business, Industry, Life Science, and Agriculture. Will the recipients please come forward?
Todd Jason Tubergen. Shane Robert Swart. Andrew Alderman. Jacob David Altfelish. Alicia Marie Antonelli. Ashley Nicole Augsburger. Wade Lewis Axelson. Scott Michael Barbian. Ian Michael Barrett. Anthony John Bauer. Cynthia Bichette. Lisa Nicole Bell. Trevor John Benford. Andrew Christopher Bergen. Eric Martin Bergeron. Tony Allen Betts. Eric Backup. Benjamin A. Brewer. Melissa M. Brinks. Damian John Brunton. Thomas Ryan Bruins. Jonathan Shea Bryson. Elizabeth Ann Barant. Elizabeth Akiko Carlson. Melissa Amber Carr. Stephen Jean Kate. Julia A. Clark. Lucas William Clayton. Adam Colbreeze. Jeremy Kyle Condon. Ross P. Conwell. Christopher Robert Cook. Jessica Eileen Crook. Tanya Lynn Denbor. Sky Crystalline Dietzel. Carissa Marie Duber. John W. Duller. Melissa Ann DuPont. Matthew Daniel Durden. Jolene Aaron Eek. Justin Lewis Eckelberg. Andrew Scott Elmer. Samantha Ann Essler. Stephanie N. Foley. Kayla Renee Gadke. Matthew Paul Gerlach. Jacob Andrew Gitter. Gretchen Lee Goodenough. Nicholas M. Grasser. Andrea Inez Grosvenor. Jacob Edmund Gensler. Corey Gerald Haas. David Michael Hagans. Travis Glenn Halverson. Christopher Michael Hammond. Brian Michael Hines. Robin Lee Holmquist. Marilyn Rachel Imthern. Thomas Brian Yashik. Adeline M. Jenkins. Eric John Jensen. Mariah Jane Job. Casey William Johnson. Cynthia Ann Johnson. Brittany Ann Kalsher. Jacob George Camps. Whitney K. Kappas. Bridget Ann Klinkner. Nathan Paul Kanak. Megan Jean Kodalka. Brad D. Krieger. Patricia Ann Krug. Lance Stephen Kuhlman. Matthew James Larson. Jennifer Lynn Latour. Madison Jean Laban. Lance M. Lembitz. Kenneth E. Lau. Elizabeth Lidke. Dustin James Mara. Robert Michael Meyer. Kristen Marie Myers. Laura Jane Michaels. Alan David Millard. Jacob Robert Moore. Jennifer Marie Moret. Marissa Lynn Morton. Paige Marie Murphy. Joshua William Nagel. Nicole Hermine Nagel. Celia Elizabeth Nice. Bradley Dean Olson. Jared Luke Olk. Thomas James Ostrom. Kelly Louise Pop. Thomas John Prombo. Jordan Michael Quentin. Joe Walter Querum. Patrick Leo Quinn. Kate Riley. Brett Allen Reineck. Julie Ann Retzloff. Jeremy Owen Rhodes. Ashley Ann Riley. Mary Dolores Robertson. Michael Joseph Sablejack. Bryce K. Sandel. Brianna Tamra Shelfeffer. Jarrett Timothy Schmall. Katie Lee Schrader. Eric Edward Schulenberg. Stephanie Nicole Schultz. Megan Ann Schultz. Chase Edward Seebecker. Michael A. Shaw. Jamie Lynn Shaver. Tracy Lynn Smith. Jordan Lee Soppy. Shane Michael Soppy. Matthew C. Stevens. Jennifer Lynn Stevens Brigman. Victoria A. Straight. Nicholas Ryan Tank. Lonnie Lee Trulson. Ashley Lynn Veldheisen. Megan Marie Veach. Jonathan M. Vetter. Stanley Wall. Jeremiah Wallace. Aaron Grant Waller. Barbara Jean Walsh. Brock Allen Waterman. Justin Lee Wettig. Jordan Scott Weand. Michael Paul Weiland. Brett Thomas Weinkoff. Brenda A. Welbus. Dylan Ross Warner. Elizabeth Marie Westfall. Marla Jane White. Matthew James White. Danielle Deborah Wilkie. Meredith Ann Williams. Kinsey Daniel Yadoff. Kong Yang. Reed Walgrave Yoakum. Zachary A. Zapital. Joseph Anthony Zengroni.
On behalf of the faculty and staff, I congratulate each and every one of you. Best wishes, don't be a stranger. You may sit down.
Will the recipients of the master's degrees please stand? Chancellor Shields, as chair of the Graduate Council, I present you with the recipients of the master's degree. Would you please start forward?
Colette Bauer. Jeffrey T. Birkin. Wesley M. Bauman. Shannon Gale Shute. Todd A. Dewey. Aaron Gay Edgington. Scott Allen Ellerbach. Daniel T. Gentz. Jan Herzl. Joel Hippolyt. Tracy Kopp. Adam Joseph Krasinski. Carolyn Ann Laufenberg. Byron J. Law. Gary D. Lewis. Diane Linskens. Tanya Sue Little. Mary K. McVeigh. Jeff A. Miller. Zara Muslu. James Lyndon Myers. Kamala K. Nemitz. Jessica L. Peterson. Stefan T. Ruhl. Scott William Spencer. Bridget Tippett. Matthew Urban. Samantha Walter. Carrie L. Wadig. Amy M. Wietrick.
On behalf of the faculty and staff, I'd like to congratulate all of you who are conferred with a master's degree today. Thank you. Please have a seat.
Congratulations to all of our graduates. This ceremony would not have been possible without the time and effort so generously given by a number of groups and individuals. The members of the commencement committee are listed in your program. That's a year-round task. Dr. Elizabeth Dewar, UW-Platteville's 2010 Academic Award for Service recipient, has served as commencement marshal. The names of the graduates were read by David Kiekafer, registrar. Student ambassadors distributed programs and organized seating for audience members. Our facilities staff, as well as the technical services and media services staff, have attended to many details. Rachel Day led the singing. The Symphonic Wind Ensemble, under the direction of Matthew Gregg, deserves our appreciation for the music accompanies today's ceremony. Will the committee members, Dr. Dewar, Mr. Kiekafer, Ms. Day, and the members of the Symphonic Wind Ensemble, the media and technology services staff, and our facility staff and student ambassadors, please stand and be recognized. As we say farewell to our graduates, I want to give them the opportunity to recognize those who have guided them through college life with gentle prodding, friendly assistance, the faculty and staff of the university. UW-Platteville faculty, staff, and administrators, please rise and be recognized by the graduates. Thank you for your outstanding work. The last group I would like to recognize consists of very special people. Like the faculty and staff and administrators of our campus, these individuals have been teachers, counselors, and mentors. However, instead of working with the students for 4 or 5 years, these people have spent a lifetime with the graduates. They have helped the graduates study, have helped them financially, and hoped and prayed for the students' success. These people have always been in the background, guiding the graduates, and today, too, these people are in the shadows of the graduates. But they don't mind, because today they are the very proud parents, spouses, and families of the graduates. Therefore, will all of the parents, grandparents, husbands, wives, children, and grandchildren of the graduates, please stand and be recognized. Please turn to page 39 of your commencement program. Stand and remove your head cover as we join Rachel Day in singing our alma mater.
Alma mater, grand and glorious, we shall ever be victorious. Lord, glory to you, dear Platteville, pioneers e'er will be. We shall win her honor. Praise be ever on her. Onward, upward to the fore. None shall falter evermore. Alma mater, grand and glorious, wrought my loyalty.
Please be seated. The commencement ceremonies have been videotaped and are available via streaming on the campus webpage. In addition, they will be aired tonight starting at 6 p.m. on Pioneer Television. Please remain seated until the faculty has left the gymnasium. Graduates will remain to greet parents and relatives and friends in the gymnasium. Thank you.